Good morning and welcome to Kitekite Falls here outside of Piha. I am spending the weekend in Piha and I'm gonna stay here at the falls and I'm gonna go out to the beach and I'm gonna do some astro. So there's a couple of videos coming up from this. I do hope you join me. Today we're gonna be looking at Kitekite Falls and the exposure triangle. And then I'm hoping to go to the beach. I've got a little example that I want to use to show you exactly what's going on with the three components of the exposure triangle: the shutter speed, the aperture, and ISO. So hope you join me and let's take a look at what's going on. Here we go. First image, horizontal frame, boulder right up here in front, as you can see right here. And I've got the lower third of the falls. Current setting, F10, ISO 100, 1/6 of a second. And focus on that. Take a shot. You can see right down here, 1/6 of a second, F10, ISO 100, and I'm underexposed by 1 1/3 stops. I can change that exposure by changing any one of the three of the exposure triangle. So if I take my ISO and I turn that up, you can see that the exposure is changing from being 1 under to being what the camera says is perfectly exposed. Put that back to 100. Or I can change my aperture. I can take it up, which makes it darker because the aperture is getting smaller. Or if I take it down and open it up, you can see perfectly exposed according to the camera. Really right on the edge of overexposing the falls. But I'll turn that back down to F10. Or I can adjust my shutter speed. If I adjust my shutter speed up, meaning I get faster, now I'm at 1/15 of a second, I'm 2 under. If I go the other way, down to 1/3.2, which is 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second. Then it says I'm closer to my perfect exposure, as you can see there. Now that I've got that shot done, I do need to do a little focus stack. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to focus on this boulder, get a shot there, and I can blend this with any of the shots that I have because I haven't moved my camera. Okay, now let's go into a portrait mode. A great reason to have an L bracket. All right. So now, let's take my camera up. I want to see if I can get 2 tiers of this 3-tiered fall. There we go. Let's focus out there on the fall. Same shot, same exposure. Try not to fall over. Come down here, let's focus on the boulder. Get that in focus. We'll blend those two together in Photoshop. All right, let's move on to a different location. Just right over here, there's some pretty cool little boulders out here in the middle of the water. So put them, drop the camera down low, put them in the foreground, get the waterfall in the background. We'll see what happens. All right, moved over to this other position. And now you can see we've got this little rock here in the foreground. We've got these rocks in the foreground. And I just need to do the waterfall a little more central. Make sure I'm level. Take it up just a little bit. If I take it up too high, if you look way up here, there's the sky, and it's super blown out. So I don't want that. I'm gonna drop it down just a little bit. I'm gonna make sure that still get most of the three tiers. Got that boulder. Focus. I'm gonna take my f-stop down up just a little bit, because I want to be a little underexposed to make sure I don't overexpose the small highlights in the top of each tier. And that looks pretty good. Let's get down here and let's focus on this. Although at f13 it should all be in focus that far out, but that looks pretty good. What a beautiful little spot this is. I know that I already closed out the video and I'm on the way out, but this little scene behind me, quite beautiful. Let's see what we can do here. We were talking about exposure earlier. You can see all of this is blown out and all of this is in shadow. That's because the sun is coming straight through right now. And even though we're at -1, all of that white there is going to be blown out, because it's in the sunlight and it's just super bright. But now we're going into shade, a cloud's going in front. So let's take our f-stop up a little bit, because I want about 1/4 of a second, which is what I'm at now, and I'm seeking a good exposure here. Focus, 2-second timer. There we go. Let's angle this down a little more and get a little more of this coming out. Turn it around a little bit. Focus. Where are we focused? Let's focus in the middle. 2-second timer. Take that shot. That looks pretty good. Zoom in. Yep. But you see all that glare? Let's get a polarizer on here and let's see what that looks like. Got the circular polarizer from Case, and it's going to take out 1 1/3 stops of light. You can see how that automatically got darker just by me putting it on there. It's a little bit like sunglasses, just blocks some light. And this one, we're at 2/3 below, and now we're at 2 1/3 below. So it's taken out a couple of stops of light. I was wrong. A couple of stops of light. But what that polarizer does, and let's turn our ISO up. I think that's going to be... Now when I take this polarizer and I turn it, you should see things get brighter, right? And then when I turn it, it comes back around and it gets darker. But what it's doing, and let's zoom in. If you look at this rock right here and you look at the glare on that rock, see how the glare comes and goes with the polarizer? That's exactly what a polarizer is for. It also happens to have the benefit of enhancing blues and greens and making them a little better. But now that we've gotten rid of the glare, let's try this again. We're at f8, 1/5 of a second. The sun is still behind a cloud. And I think that actually looks a little bit better. Let's go down just a little bit more. Bring this around. 2-second timer. All right, that looks good. Now for the closing. But I'm happy with that. We might find something else on the way out. We'll see ya.